What's up, everybody? And what a WrestleMania 35 that was. Am I right? It was a really good card. Um, it's 1 a.m. past 1 a.m. here on the East Coast, and it went. My complaint about the show is that it went way too long. With a 5 o'clock starting time for the WWE kickoff for WrestleMania 35. We are at what, 5, 6 foot, 7 hours of professional wrestling in a row. And that's on top of, the whole weekend stuff and the Hall of Fame and NXT TakeOver. But let's just stick with tonight. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt and stick with tonight. 7 hours of WrestleMania 35, including kickoff. And listen, for other pay-per-views, I will say you could probably just not pay attention to the kickoffs. Yes, they usually have a great cruiserweight match. Maybe they have another good tag team match in the kickoffs. But the kickoffs, usually nothing really happens. But with WrestleMania, the kickoff might as well be part of the real show. You have the Andre Battle Royal, the Women's Battle Royal. You have, yes, a cruiserweight match, but it's WrestleMania. So you assume the cruiserweight title match is going to be a big cruiserweight title match as well. All the matches were fine. Even the ones that I thought were weak were actually, besides it being maybe weak on a WrestleMania card, any other card, it would have been good. But, when you have 7 hours, 7 hours of wrestling, it's just too long. And I think the worst example of that is just the crowd reaction for that main event. I'm going to go through all the matches now. I'm going to give you my opinion on them all. But let's start with that women's main event. The first ever women headlining, main eventing WrestleMania matchup. You had Charlotte versus Becky Lynch versus Ronda Rousey. It was really good. I actually don't think it's the best I've ever seen some sort of combination of those three together in the ring, but it was a really good triple threat match. I think it was actually definitely WrestleMania 35 caliber, WrestleMania caliber in general, I should say. But on top of that, it was a really good main event as well. But what killed it was that the crowd was dead. They were so tired. And you can't blame them because they were a hot crowd all night. They were just tired because it was 7 hours in arena seating. And I mean, listen, it's in New York. I can tell you guys I'm in New York. I went to the last WrestleMania at whatchamacallit, whatever it's called. MetLife Stadium, that's what I should say. Not Citi Field. Citi Field is another stadium. MetLife Stadium. I went to the last WrestleMania at MetLife Stadium, and the seating arrangements, not so great. Even if you have good seats, I mean, unless you're sitting front row ringside or have front row in the section right above it. I mean, it's not that great. So I decided this year it's probably better just to watch it at home. But anyway, you have 7 hours sitting in stadium seating. That's torture, man. It's torture. 7 hours sitting in stadium seating. If you look, too, there's a bunch of people complaining at all different sections throughout the arena. Different pillars are blocking them. Different lighting effects are literally blinding them and making them not able to see the ring. It's rough, 7 hours. So I don't think it's the fans' fault. That main event was a good main event. Best WrestleMania main event ever? No. Great WrestleMania main event. One of the best matches on this particular card? Absolutely. It was really solid. It was a good triple threat match. Becky Lynch, Charlotte, Ronda Rousey, they all brought it. The crowd was just dead, man. So when there was there was maybe not so much a botch, but something like a slight mistake or two throughout the match, a hot crowd would have just kept going and they would have glossed over the fact there was something wrong in the match, a mistake in the match. There's a mistake in every match. But when the crowd's just dead silent, you just focus on these things. It just becomes more obvious. And, the ending of the match was a little bit sloppy. Again, it was a good match. But I'm saying these things all become more pronounced when you have a dead crowd just, sitting on their hands because they're pooped, man. They're out of it. They want to go home. It's almost 1 a.m. But anyway, Becky Lynch gets her moment, wins the SmackDown title, the Raw title, the SmackDown and Raw women's titles. She pins Ronda Rousey, giving Ronda Rousey her first pinfall in the WWE. I think Becky deserves it. All three of those girls deserve it, man. All three of those women were fantastic, I thought. And it's just a shame they got hurt by the fact that, they went on so late, even though that was supposed to be the big deal. They got to main event WrestleMania. Ian in the chat says, it was so long, I'm exhausted. Main event was messy, dude, and I was so pumped for this. Kind of disappointed, but I think you're right. Crowd was exhausted. Yeah, and I think those slight messy parts in the main event just wouldn't have been so obvious if the crowd was hot, The crowd was hot for Kofi and Daniel Bryan, and that wasn't that was a great match, but it wasn't like every single spot went perfect. Same for, I would say, every match of the night. I've never seen rarely you have a perfect where everything goes smoothly match. Usually, even in like a 5-star match, it's just like they make the botch or the mistake or the sloppiness work, and they make it tell the story, which again is a lot easier when there's a hot crowd. All right, let's go through the rest of the card here. So, my feeling, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch, great match. Not match of the night. Main event caliber, definitely. But the match was hurt overall because of the dead crowd. And the crowd was dead because they were tired, not because they weren't excited in the match. Because you could tell they were into it. They just weren't being as vocal. Let's get to this one, because this was fantastic. Daniel Bryan versus Kofi. Maybe the match of the night. It was an all-around great match. It was just really good. They told the story. They didn't need any of the ridiculous finisher after finisher type spots. It was just a well-done, hot match. Even the rest spots, like the Daniel Bryan, those long submission spots, it was Daniel Bryan telling a story there. He's the heel. He's making you hate him because here's this hot match. These guys can go, and he's like mocking the fans by making Kofi, by taking Kofi to the mat. You even see it sometimes. Even, and it's not the same in MMA, obviously, but the fans boo in MMA when two guys are supposed to go at it on their feet, fist to fist, and they're hitting submission holds. The crowd boos, and WWE knows it's a easy heel tactic. You make the fans hate you when you do that shit. So, great match. Maybe the match of the night. I'm not sure, but definitely a great match. I don't know what the match of the night was, to be honest with you. Not sure. Brock versus Seth Rollins. I like Brock. I know people complain about the whole he's not on every show and he has to defend the title even at every pay-per-view. Who cares, man? I think his whole shtick where he's the Universal Champion and he's a level above everybody else so he doesn't show up all the time. It's sort of like, in a video game, he's the final boss, man. He doesn't have to appear at every show. He's the big boss. You have to get to him. I always like that dynamic. And it sort of makes the WWE title over on SmackDown mean more, especially when you're someone like me who hates that there's two main titles. I hate it. It's ridiculous. There should not be two main titles. The champion should be the one person who's able to go on both shows, to be honest with you, if he wants to. Again, if you want to be a Brock and just show up at the pay-per-view events, you're the main event. You're the big champ. You should be that elusive being, that mystery character that we don't see all the time. It also elevates the secondary titles, like the Intercontinental title and the United States title. I like that, but that's just me. It was the opening match, which surprised me. I saw a joke online. I thought it was great that as the entrance for the match after that one was starting, someone noted that Brock's already on his way to Newark Airport. He's already going through the TSA, and he's already got his bags checked in. I don't know about that, but listen, I thought it was a well-done match to kick things off. It started the night off hot. Seth Rollins deserved it. It's always fun to see that the fact that Brock Lesnar's got one weakness, and it's a swift kick or uppercut to the balls. Always works when you're fighting Brock, apparently. Good match. Let's go to... All right. Triple H versus Batista in the No Holds Barred match. It was not great, but it was entertaining. It was very slow-paced, almost comical at times how slow the two of them were going. But it was so over the top that they made it work. You know, when you make a match that ridiculous in terms of what you're doing, you know, the breaking of Batista's fingers with those I don't know what it was, like a monkey wrench or something, I don't even know. And then the taking the pliers and pulling out Batista's nose ring, which we all know that spot wasn't real, but it's funny to see the ref. You know, you could see, it's plain as day, the ref handing Triple H the earring and Batista rolling out of the ring to actually nicely take his nose ring out. I mean, come on. You gotta love a schmaz fest like that, to steal a phrase from Bret Hart. It's a good time, you know? It's classic sort of... It's one of the reasons to steal from a quote from John Oliver. That's why wrestling is better than the thing you like. Because sometimes it's just so silly, so ridiculous, so over the top. You gotta enjoy it. If we want to take one thing out of this, for me personally, I'm just sick of Triple H always going over, all the time, every single time the guy goes over. I mean, I get it, Batista's just here for this WrestleMania match, and Triple H, the stipulation was Triple H had to never wrestle again if he lost. But how many times have they called bullshit on those stipulations later on and just had someone come back? I just want to see Triple H lose every now and then. Come on. But whatever. I'll digress on that one. It was a fun match. Shane versus The Miz. Now, this was a storytelling match. The best one of the night in terms of a match that tells a story. I think it elevated The Miz and Shane to a point where they rarely get to. You know, Shane always just does these high spots. Miz just sort of, I don't know, never really. He's a great heel. He's been in great matches, but he's never been known for having great matches. I think this sort of elevated them both to a level that we don't usually get to see from the two of them. The high spot was fun. WWE really is bad at those camera angles where they fall on those padded mats that are supposed to be like, I don't know, some sort of staging or stacked tables. So dumb. But all in all, it's a cool spot. The addition of Mrs. Dad told a good story, and the two of them probably had, were the best acting of the night, at least. I don't know. It was another fun match. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. It was a match put on the card to get Roman Reigns on the card for a match that had an actual real-life storyline to it, where Roman Reigns actually, defeated this illness. It was just an unnecessary match for the show. Hate to say it. It's cool to see Roman Reigns back. It should be a great story, but they failed to tell it. I'm not going to blame Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre alone. I mean, it was just a thrown-together match because there was no storytelling behind it, no build-up to it. Just, it was one of the weaker matches on the show, and I get they wanted to put Roman in a singles match, but with all these matches on this card and the night going as long as it did, I feel like this is the one that could have been cut. Or one of the ones that could have been cut. The women's tag team match with Bayley and Sasha Banks, Beth Phoenix and Natalya, the Iconics, and Nia Jax and Tamina. It was all right. It was a fun match, and there was some great spots. Great to see Beth Phoenix back in the ring, and it's cool to see the Iconics win. On any other card, I think this would have been a solid opener type match for WrestleMania. But with all these opener type matches, I feel like this is one of those matches that sort of got lost in it when it was better than that. It was better than the ones that could have been cut. And I feel like it could have got a little bit more time and it could have possibly been a greater match than it was. AJ versus Orton, to me actually, was the one match that had no special stipulation, no title on the line. It was just two guys going at it. That was a good match. The only one on this card that was one of those type matches, and it was good. Again, it could have been one of those openers on the show and filled in time that would have gone to these sort of traditional opening matches on a pay-per-view. I mean, it was a good match. U.S. Championship Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio. Listen, I'm assuming that Rey's actually still injured because that match could have been cut. It was just so short, so pointless. Great to see them give Samoa Joe and Rey Mysterio WrestleMania matches. Rey Mysterio had a great outfit. I'm a big Samoa Joe fan, but listen, when Rey Mysterio got hurt, why not turn the AJ and Randy Orton singles match into a triple threat with Samoa Joe and make it for the U.S. title? I mean, it was just that was one of those filler matches, and it was not good. And it was short, but still, when you account for the entrances and the intros and the actual match itself altogether, it's time that could have been given to other matches, or time that could have been literally used to cut the show down so people weren't so tired. I mean, think about it. It's sort of weird how they did that dance-off with R-Truth, and that dance break, I should say, with R-Truth and Carmella right before the main event. That dance break should have been cut entirely. After they wanted to do it, it should have been way earlier in the night when people actually could use some sort of break. No one wanted a break right before the main event. They wanted the show to just get over with. It was ridiculous. Oh, man. This is another one. The IC title. Bobby Lashley versus the Demon Finn Balor. Listen. I think Bobby Lashley has stepped it up in this his latest WWE run. I was not a Bobby Lashley fan last time around when he was in WWE first time. I like Finn Balor. The Demon was cool for a while, but he hasn't been the Demon in so long. And this Bobby Lashley feud really wasn't a reason to bring the Demon out. That honestly, when the Demon came out, I was sort of like, oh, I forgot this thing even existed. And then on top of that, oh, why is he doing this for a Bobby Lashley match? It was, just not necessary. Just not necessary. The match could have been cut, to be honest. I get it for the IC title, but again, why not roll this into another triple threat or a fatal four-way or something? I don't know, man. I don't know. I get you want to put everyone on the card, but maybe they should start taking the Andre the Giant Battle Royal a little bit more seriously. Maybe move it to the main show and throw Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, Samoa Joe, Rey Mysterio, AJ Styles, Randy Orton, Bobby Lashley, Finn Balor. Throw all those guys in that match so we have 3-4 less matches. Just I don't know. I don't know. Oh, man. Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin. Listen, it's clear as can be that Kurt Angle, unfortunately, as far as he's pushed it all these years, he's finally at the point where he actually can't go. And it's good to see that they realized that and they wanted to give him a farewell match. I know everyone was complaining about it being Baron Corbin and we're all holding out hope that they would switch it out with someone else. But it was Baron Corbin. And it's unfortunate it was because it just wasn't that great of a match. Again, I mean, I get they wanted to give Kurt Angle a farewell match. And it's good to see that Kurt's a wrestler's wrestler who, these guys like to go out on their back in their last match. And that's what Angle did. Why they used this to put over Baron Corbin, I don't know. But I gotta say, it's amazing that as much as Angle looks like he sort of can't completely still go in the ring, dude still has the best moonsault in the business. He literally ascends and floats, continues floating up. Whereas everyone else does the jump, and because gravity obviously exists, I should say, and does its thing and pulls you down, Kurt Angle somehow defies that and still manages to continue his rotation up when he flips before coming down. I'll never get it. But the dude still has a beautiful moonsault. And no one can ever take that from him. And I'm glad we got to see it one last time at WrestleMania. The SmackDown Tag Title match with the Usos, The Bar, Nakamura, and Rusev, and Ricochet and Aleister Black. It was a good match. Again, I don't think this is a match that should have been cut. It was a good match. This would have been like that other match I said, the AJ and Randy Orton match. It would have been a typical opener. And there was that great spot with The Bar, with Cesaro doing the Superman swing, and Sheamus grabbing each guy trying to come in and doing the fist to the chest, the pounds onto the guys' chests over the rope. There was great spots, great match. It was fun. Usos went over. Someone needed to retain their titles tonight. It was a good match. Raw Tag Team Championship, the kickoff. This was a kickoff match. Revival versus Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. This was a good kickoff match. This is not something they did. It was during the kickoff. Didn't extend WrestleMania, and it was a good match. Oddly enough, it was longer than some of the later WrestleMania matches, which I don't get. But it was good. They told a story. That's what you need to do, and that's what they did. They told more of a story than McIntyre and Reigns. They told more of a story than, what was I just saying before? Than even Angle and Corbin, in my opinion. And we had the whole Kurt Angle final match story to tell in that. Told more of a story than Joe and Mysterio. Told more of a story than Lashley and Balor. Kurt Hawkins ended his 269 match losing streak. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal was fun this year. They did the celebrity entrance, Colin Jost and Michael Che right. They got them in the ring. They got them out of the ring. So they didn't have much of anything to do with any of the eliminations. And then they brought them in at the end when it was just Braun. I mean, technically, if you remove them, Braun had to take on both Hardys as his last actual wrestling combatants in that match. That's a good final three. You want to throw in Colin Jost and Michael Che in there with him as the, because it's WrestleMania and you want celebrities. They didn't throw anybody out. They didn't make anybody look weak. I thought it was well done. If you're going to do a celebrity thing, if you got to do a celebrity thing, maybe that's the way to do it. And good to see Strowman have the win there. The Women's Battle Royal, Sarah Logan should have won. That was truly one of those moments where I was surprised, and it was a good surprise. They should have just let her win. But I like Carmella too, but Sarah Logan's legit talent, I think, in my opinion. It would have been cool to see her go over, but I still think they put her over by having her be the final person in that match with Carmella. But it was good. Buddy Murphy and Tony Nese. That was also a good match. It was a great opener. And good to see Tony Nese win. And like I said at the beginning of the show, actually, it was shocking to see Tony Nese win, Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder win, and Carmella win right up top in the kickoff. All four of those people, hometown, local New Yorkers, Long Islanders, Queens, Staten Island. What was in the water today? What was Vince drinking today? Usually, when a wrestler's in their hometown, they do the job. They take the pinfall. They lose the title. So, it was nice to see that wasn't the case today. I think that was all the matches. I think that was all the moments too, right? Am I missing anything here? Am I forgetting anything? I don't think so, right? Am I forgetting anything? No? Yes? No? Maybe so? Let's go to the comments here a little bit. Dave says he was screaming his ass off for Kofi and Becky. Man, so many damn moments. Mr. Ames is Kofi as well. My mans. Lord Rorschach says the worst match was Reigns versus McIntyre. Reigns is done and McIntyre buried. Yeah, it wasn't so great. Ian says, yeah, the dead crowd really magnified the slight mistakes, and audio was really loud for the in-ring sections. You could hear the girls talking in every spot, mainly Charlotte. I noticed that. I wonder why that happened. It's 'cause something changed. That wasn't like that the whole night. Ian, I'm not sure which match he said was great, but he said great matches, a great build and great story. For the Kofi Bryan match, yep. Ian also says typical Triple H match, haha, so slow, but I liked it. The fingers and nose ring spot were fun. Akshay says Rollins is a cheater. Well, don't be such a mark. Edgehead says go to sleep. I will, trust me. Only a few more comments and then I'm saying good night. Logan says this WrestleMania should teach them not to have so many matches, because matches that deserved a fair amount of time had to be cut and it killed the crowd. Right, for sure. The Architect says it's Mania, dude. That's reason enough. Right. A lot of people are saying goodnight to me here. Chris, who won the three-way dance between Charlotte, Becky, and Ronda? Becky won. Yep. Louis says Rollins should face Roman. Well, maybe that's what they're going to do next. Rollins versus Romans. Who knows? We will see. And with that, guys, that's my WrestleMania 35 roundup. We'll be doing more stuff, more interviews, so be sure to subscribe here. And, we will see you guys. Again, subscribe, and we'll see you the next event for another Fallout. But we'll also be doing other videos here on this channel. So, hope you enjoyed WrestleMania 35. Hopefully next time they cut it a lot shorter because I am exhausted. Take care. Enjoy the Raw after WrestleMania tomorrow. Should be a good one. Hopefully it'll be a good one. Peace.